Continuing today, in our Tanya learning for Elyakeem. May we see him right away with the Gula Shlema. As we say every day in davening, B'chayim Mesin, Baruch Hashem, B'chayim Mesin. And we know you can't say a bracha, which is a suffix. You're not allowed to make a bracha that's a suffix. So it's a certainty. We say the bracha 3 times a day, B'chayim Mesin. So we should see Elyakeem right away. So to accomplish that result and to fulfill Hashem's will, we are learning Sefer Tanya. And we spoke yesterday, the Alter Rebbe is talking about the enormous war and battle occurring inside of the Yid. The battle between the Nefesh Elokis and the Nefesh Bahamis, the godly soul and the animal soul. There is a war, a battle. And the Alter Rebbe is saying that we need to be in that battle and waging that war, going to war against the animal soul and the evil impulse, and doing the right thing. And even more, the Rebbe spoke about in Basi Lagani more than that. That in fact, to use and to flip around the passions of the body and the sort of the shtus the gedusha, the shtuyot, the sort of the involvement and in nonsense and the passions that people get all aroused regarding nonsense, and use those passions in areas of kedusha and Torah and holiness. So that's what the Rebbe is talking about here. So let's go inside. Nefilu bechinas sur mira, and even in matters of turning away from evil, which we are required to do, sur mira, Yechol kol ish maskil, every intelligent person is able limso to find benafsho in his soul she'enu sar legamre mehara b'kol mikol. He's not really turning away totally from evil if he looks honestly. B'makom shetzarek milchama tzuma, in a place that really requires an intense war. Ke'erech and Yisrael in the like we spoke about above. What did we speak about above? Like we spoke about, it's called a kal shabakalim, someone who doesn't have a lot of Torah knowledge, and he's out in the market, and he might find himself doing the wrong thing, and where really he's required to restrain himself and restrain his impulse and remember Hashem and do the right thing. So it's a big battle, and you have to be in the battle. So what we see, the Alter Rebbe is telling us that a lot of times we're not waging the war. What is he talking about? Meaning what? So even with things, even in more minor things that are not such massive averas, but things where you might consider not so significant. For example, kogoyim, the hafsik be'emses sicha to interrupt in the middle of a little story you're telling, or sipur beganut chavera, or a little tale you're saying, which is actually at someone's expense. Okay, vafilu genai katan v'kal mode, and even if it's just a little thing that you're talking about, not really a big deal, but it's disgraceful and it's something not so nice regarding somebody else, minor, but still. Va'avshu emet, and even if it's true, vafilu kedei lenakot atzmo, and even if it's in order that you want to say, hey, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. You want to exonerate yourself. Okay? Kunoda mehen Amar Rabbi Shimon la'aviv. Sorry, Kunoda mahad Amar Rabbi Shimon la'aviv. Like it is known that Rabbi Shimon spoke to his father, Rabbeinu HaKodesh, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. He said, what did he say? Lav ana katneve ele Yehuda chayita kadve. I didn't write it. Yehuda the tailor wrote it. What did Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, his father, say back to him? V'amalo, say back to him, Kalech melashon hara. Separate yourself from lashon hara. La'ayin sham b'Gemara. Look over there in Gemara, Reish Perak Yud, at the beginning of Perak Yud, the Baba Basra. So we see here he just said, I didn't write it. Rabbi the tailor wrote it. You wanted to exonerate yourself, but you're saying something at someone else's expense, separate yourself from Lashon Hara. So the author Rebbe is saying here, these types of things, we need to be in the war. You have to stop. You have to stop saying that tale. You can't say things that are disgraceful to somebody else, even things that are maybe considered minor. We need to be in the war and restrain ourselves. So, the same thing applies to many similar things which people do all the time. Particularly when we're talking about sanctifying yourself in things that are permissible, eating, drinking, things that you're allowed to do. But the Torah commands us to sanctify yourself. Shuba deraisa, this is a biblical command to sanctify yourself. Like it says, Kadoshim Lo, be holy, v'hit kadishtem v'gomer, and make yourselves holy. V'gam, and also divrei sofrim, chamurim v'divrei Torah. And also we learn that the words of the sofrim, the rabbinic enactments, are even more important than Torah enactments. But what happens? Shekol elo yotz behem hein ba'avodah she'adam dash bak kevov. All these things, a lot of these things like them are sins that a man tramples underfoot. V'gam na'aseh keheter, and they become like permissible to him, and makmas she'avar v'shana, because he does them over and over. So, and then what's the point? So that ends today's Tanya, but the point is actually in the next line. We're going to read the next line tomorrow because this summarizes it and makes the point. What is the point? In truth, imhu yodea sefer. He knows the Torah, u'machazik b'Torah, and he's strong in the Torah's Hashem. V'kirav as Elyakeem yachpot, and he desires to be close to Hashem. Gadol avono niso. His guilt is very great. V'ashmato gdola b'kaflei kaflayim, and his guilt is increased manifold for not waging war and not overcoming his impulse. B'ma she'eno nilcham u'mitgaver al yitzro be'erach u'bechinas milchama atzuma kenizkeret le'el, in that he does not wage a war and he's not victorious, he's not strong over his Yetzer Hara in the area of this intense battle that we spoke about. And here's the point. Mi ashmat kol shebekalim, from the sin of the kol shebekalim, someone that doesn't know any better. He doesn't know any better, and he's sitting in the corners, and he's distant from Hashem and His Torah. So he does what appears to be more egregious things. But the one that knows better, the one that knows the Torah, and he desires to be close to Hashem, and he's not bringing out the war to distance himself from things. He's not in the war. He's on easy street, and he's not bringing out in him to be in the battle. And so really he is doing something much worse than someone that appears to be doing something much worse, but he doesn't really know any better. So the sin of the one in the corner is not as intense, in that he doesn't conquer his Yetzer Hara, which burns like a fiery flame, their guilt for not summoning up the fear of God, who knows and sees all their actions, in order to restrain their impulse, which burns like a fiery flame, is not as heinous as the guilt of one who draws close to Torah, to God and His Torah and His service. As our sage of blessed memory said of Acher, this is now tomorrow's Tanya. Okay, because he knew my glory. So that's the point. The point is, don't worry about judging your fellow, and let's go out there and look at ourselves and win the war. Remember Hashem, and until next time.